Today we're checking out a transmitter. This is the Noble NB4 Plus from Flysky, which is a new brand for AMain Hobbies, and we've been playing with this for a little bit, and it's one of the most impressive transmitters that you can get for its price. It has the features and touchscreen that is more in line with the really heavy-hitting transmitters that are super expensive, yet it's priced more in the middleweight category for transmitters. So it's got 10px features while being at a 4pm price, and it is just super nice. So this thing starts out with being an 8-channel transmitter. It has a 3.5-inch screen. It is color and it's also touch. It has this awesome feature where the steering wheel can rotate 200 degrees, swiveling all the way around for left-handed use. And then all the buttons also on the handle transfer over on the left side as well. So everything stays the same. It's symmetrical left and right. There's enough resistance too in this wheel that it won't just move out of place while handling it, or if you tip it upside down. It's pretty stiff and it takes a bit of force to get it to rotate. But how cool is that? There's also a 300-meter range with this transmitter. Not all of the Flysky receivers will do 300 meters, so you have to pay attention to that. But it can, line of sight, do 300 meters, which is really far. It also supports some of the iBus 2 servos from Power HD, so you can set some of the program features on the transmitter, as well as the Hobbywing iBus 2 ESCs, like the AX system, so you can just program the ESC on the transmitter. There's also a training mode where you can link your transmitter with another person who's got a transmitter so you can take over while they're learning how to drive. There's a head tracking function. It has a 20 model memory. It's 20 or 25 models you can save in here. The build quality of the transmitter is also really exquisite. It feels super sturdy. It's lightweight. It's kind of smaller than some of the really big transmitters, so it's kind of compact. And then it uses a metal shell for around the screen. It is aluminum, and then the lower base is also an aluminum shell on here. So really the only plastic is in the handle, the buttons, and then this steering wheel housing. The back of the steering wheel housing though, and the swivel piece, that is also aluminum. And overall as a unit, it just feels really solid. It's not rickety. It doesn't make any creak sounds when you mess with it. And it has just a really premium feel to it. It's just really nice. Now, one of the best parts about this transmitter is that it has 2 batteries. So in the handle, there's an 18650 size single cell battery. And then this bottom piece is actually a battery bank. That's like a secondary battery. And the 2 of them work together to provide an overall runtime of over 10 hours, which is pretty incredible. You don't have to use this battery bank. And if you remove it, the transmitter becomes a whole lot lighter, under 400 grams. So if you slide off the battery bank, that's what it looks like. You can't set it down as easily without the base. You just kind of put it on its side, and then there's no way to charge it without the battery bank. But using the 18650 battery in the handle, it'll operate for 4.5 hours, people are reporting. So the way these 2 batteries work is really interesting. Whenever the battery bank is connected to the transmitter, it's the primary power, and the radio will use the battery bank and not the 18650. The battery bank also charges the 18650 battery inside once it's turned on. So if you turn on the button on the battery bank, it turns green, and then that will start charging the 18650. The same happens if you just plug in a USB-C to the battery bank. It'll charge the battery bank and the 18650, and this green indicator will kind of dim from the right side to indicate how full this charge is. Also, when this battery bank is on, this USB is an output for power to charge other devices. Super cool setup, and it's really nice that you don't have to use this battery bank because it does add a bit of weight to the transmitter, and you can feel it just hanging out on the bottom. Without that weight, the transmitter feels a lot lighter. Comparing this transmitter with a 10px, the Noble feels heavier, even though on the scale it's about 50 grams lighter. So for the buttons on this transmitter, the handle buttons are going to be mirrored on each side, so it's the same configuration, left or right hand use. And we've just got a simple push button down low. Then there's 2 rotating dials above that. And then on the back corner, there is another dial that rotates, and it can only rotate so far where these other dials down low, they just can continue to rotate indefinitely. Then on the steering wheel, we have 2 paddle buttons on each side of the wheel, excuse me, and they are plastic and they are pull paddles. Right above that, these are like little toggle buttons that move left and right and forward and back, and these are what's pre-programmed as the trims, at least going left to right. The forward and back motion does nothing, but you could, I imagine, program that. All the buttons are programmed to any channel you want, and you can also rename those channels to anything you want to if you're using them for some special function, which is really cool. Now, we've reviewed a few heavy hitter transmitters in the past, the M17, the 10PX, and they're both really exquisite yet expensive transmitters. And if you compare some of their specs, their touchscreens, their channels, and compare it to this Noble NB4, I think there's a lot of similarities across the board, as well as the new Spektrum transmitter that just came out. The iXSR, I believe it is. The thing about all these transmitters is that they're all like double the price of the NB4, which is pretty much on par. The 10PX does have a bigger screen. It is a higher resolution screen too. You can notice it when you're looking at it. But the NB4 Plus isn't far behind. Another really interesting thing is the weight of these transmitters, which is really crucial for nitro racers who are doing hour-long races. That transmitter weight can weigh down your hands and your wrists. You want a lightweight transmitter. And the NB4 is definitely super lightweight. Another important thing to note are the receivers, and the cost of the replacement receivers here is to replace the receiver that comes with the transmitter. And the Futaba and Sanwa receivers are super expensive. The Flysky receivers are only like 35 bucks. There's tons of different receivers and they're $35, give or take probably $5 depending on what you need. That is incredibly cheap. So if you have a lot of cars, being able to buy cheap receivers is pretty crucial. And they have a race receiver, which is what you're probably going to want to use for racing. And there is a race mode on the transmitter as well, because it's super fast with low lag. And I believe Ryan Mayfield is using this to win races, so it is proven on the racetrack. Now, if we look at the mid-tier transmitters, these are like the $300 transmitters. They all have less channels than the Flysky. None of them include batteries. None of them have touchscreens, and none of them have receivers that are as cheap. The biggest advantage some of these transmitters have is because they're smaller, they have smaller screens, and they're made out of all plastic, so they're going to be lighter weight. But that's their only advantage. They overall offer less while costing the same amount of money. All right, so I'm going to turn the screen on and show you really quick the menu and what's going on here. It just talked as we turned it on, and you can turn off the talking. It also chimes and it vibrates, which you can customize. This is kind of like our home screen, basically, that you would see during normal use. And you can lock the screen by holding down that lock button. So now it's locked, and you can't accidentally make any parameters while you're using it. Now it's unlocked again. So you hit the gear icon to go into our menus. Reverse, pretty self-explanatory. EPAs, that's really important. You're going to want to set all your endpoints always on your servos. And for our left side, pretty nifty. You can hit the back arrow to go back, or you can hit the power button down here on the base. That will also take you back. And this little circle arrow is how you reset back the defaults. Okay, back. Sub trims, timer. If you want to set a lap timer. Okay, that's getting kind of annoying. Let's see, assign, system, sounds. Here we go. System sounds, alarm sound, sensor sound, menu operation sound. I'm not sure the difference between system sound and operation sound, but at least it's not talking to us anymore. Let's go look one more time. Units, sound, vibration. Ooh, do we need all the vibrations? Without vibrations, the battery will last longer. Factory reset. Okay, let's keep going here. So assign, that's probably our channels. Do they indicate when we hit a button? No. Back. Okay, assign the name. That must be, oh, we can name our channels. So we can name our channels anything we want. Model select, select model, 1, 2 numbers, model name, channel number, frequency setup. So that's to do with the receivers. Reset, copy the model, import and export. A lot going on. Sensors for our telemetry. RX setup for your receivers system. We went into that, so we just swipe to the next screen. It's one gripe that I have about it. The animation is, there's no animation. It would be nice if it was more like a smartphone when you went from screen to screen. But this is the middle screen, as indicated by the dots down here. We have channel speed. So if you want to slow things down, you can't really turn things faster. Mixes. See if you want to do any mixing. Throttle curve, idle up, engine cut, cruise, got a cruise control function, boat, display, let's see what's in display. Oh, this shows us our different 4-channel setups right now. So let's see if I turn the steering wheel, it actually moves the horn there to show us we're going 100% in each direction. Display SVC. What the heck is that? Smart Vehicle Control. So Flysky makes their own gyro that you can use for drifting or whatever. I wonder if that's what this is for. If you're going to use the gyro, which will work directly on the Flysky transmitter. And I believe it's programmable on the transmitter as well. Let's go to the third screen and we just have trainer mode. Okay. Please set the USB setup to trainer mode first. All right. I think we saw that in the system. iBus 2. Okay. And help screen. The NB4 Plus is an epic transmitter, guys. For $300, it does so many cool things, and then those cheap receivers are so hard to pass up. So go check out the NB4 Plus with our links down below, and if you want more RC videos, check these out.